right, so the question I got asked was, how do I boost creativity? Appreciate the question. Big up for that. Any questions you want to ask me, send it my way. I ain't no expert in anything. I'm just trying to learn many things, and hopefully I can say something that helps somebody, or, you know, I could just be completely wrong and have no idea what I'm talking about. Either way, we'll see. All right, so how do you boost creativity? So the reality is that there are millions, if not billions, of ways you could boost your creativity. There are ways that might work for somebody else, but they don't work for you. There's ways that might work for you, but it don't work for other people. And there's all manners of ways in between those two. So the short answer is, figure it out yourself, right? Really, you just gotta figure it out yourself. You just gotta figure out what works for you and go with that. Now, one thing I can say for now that might help you to figure out what works for you is a thing called free writing, I believe it's called. At least that's what I was calling it back in the day anyway. So back when I was writing more poetry, one of the things that I would do is what's called free writing. And basically the idea is that you just set yourself a time limit of, let's say, 5 minutes, for example, and you start the timer and you just write. You just write whatever comes to your mind. You don't worry about whether it makes sense. You don't worry about whether it rhymes, whether your spelling's correct, whether the grammar's correct. You don't worry about whether it's in any kind of order. You don't worry about how neat you're writing. You don't stop at all. Your pen does not leave the paper. You just keep writing whatever comes to your mind, no matter how wild it is, no matter how dumb it is, no matter what it is. If it's in your head, write it down. Just write. And then you get to the end of those 5 minutes, you stop the timer, and then you look at what you've written. And from that, you then can look at it and say, okay, I can pick out this bit and maybe I could develop that into something, or I can pick out this bit and then develop that into something. And if there is nothing that you can pick out, just go again, another 5 minutes, and just keep writing. And the idea about it isn't necessarily to write something that you can put out into the world. The idea really is to practice getting things out of you, right? Because a lot of times people talk about writer's block, right? Or if we're talking general creativity, then I guess it's more the inability to think of something to create. And the truth is that it's not that you don't have any ideas. It's just we don't always have the courage to put it out into the world because there's something holding us back. So doing things like free writing is a way of practicing letting go or letting out of the things that you have inside you, right? Letting out the ideas that you have, letting out the thoughts that you have, the feelings that you have, just letting it out onto a piece of paper and not worrying about, you know, the grammar, the structure, the this, the that. No, that's not important right now. It's just getting it out of you and writing it down. And once you've got it out, you can then go from there. So in essence, in order to boost creativity, it's really just practice being creative, because you're always going to get better at the things you practice, right? Practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes improvement. So you're always going to get better at the things you practice doing. If you practice just writing stuff down, not thinking about anything, just writing it down, just whatever's in your head, write it down. You don't have to show it to anybody. You don't have to ask somebody to analyze it for you, or you don't have to do any of that. You just, if it's in your head, write it down. Don't worry about what it means. Don't worry about nothing. Just write it down. Also, another thing you could do as well is just to stay inspired. You know, a poet by the name of Dean Atter said once, the best writers are the best readers. And that, I believe, counts for every form of creativity. If you are a filmmaker, watch films. If you are a YouTuber, watch YouTube videos, you know, but be inspired. Allow yourself to be, and you don't have to be inspired by one thing, by the way. You could be inspired by multiple things. So constantly observe the world around you and think about what things are, what things mean, why things are the way they are. Look things up if you don't know what's going on. Try to understand as much as you can. But the more you can take in, the more you have to inform your creativity. If you're closing yourself off to a lot of things, then your creativity is only going to come from a small range of inspiration. Whereas if you allow yourself to absorb much more and to be around, whether it's creative people or creative things or just things in general, just Go out, see the world, touch grass, all of that. Go to a play, go to a cafe, just experience life. Because creativity ultimately comes from your experiences of your own life. So the more experiences you have, and let's be honest, they're not all going to be good, some of them are going to be bad, but it all helps to inform you, and it all helps to inspire the thoughts that you ultimately end up having. So live, go to different places, meet new people. All of these things are going to inform you in ways that you might not necessarily be realizing at the time. But the more you experience, the more you can learn, the more you have inside you, that when you are then writing down, when you do set that 5-minute time limit, the more you have subconsciously in there that you can then write down. And then when you look at after those 5 minutes, the more you have to pick and choose from. Say, you know what, I can work with that, I can do that, I can maybe learn more about this, and I can, these sorts of things. So yeah, to wrap it all up, to boost creativity, you need to live life and enjoy life as much as you can, and practice letting out the things that you have inside you. So practice not worrying about whether it's going to be good or bad or make sense or all that stuff. Practice just letting it out, and if you can do that, then yeah, I think that could help boost your creativity. So yeah, big up for the question, appreciate it, and until whenever, if ever, peace.